the crimson dragon blocking in front of number 10, is the legendary beast subdued by Dasutu. Even the ancient relics of the immortal garden admire its pure bloodline and refuse to kill it, a terrifying demon dragon. Facing the overwhelming fiery aura radiating from number 10, the crimson dragon shows no fear. Laughing wildly, it declares its master does not wish to kill, but it has no hesitation. It intends to personally subdue number 10. The massive body of the crimson dragon bursts out of the wave fish, longer than a mountain ridge. It stirs up a fierce wind and dives down. The red hurricane devours everything. Giant rocks are instantly ground to dust. A faint black hole even appears. This power chills everyone to the bone. The attendant of the purple sun, Heavenly Lord following behind, laughs loudly, believing the demon dragon strike alone is enough to annihilate the hobbyist. However, in the next moment, the hurricane abruptly stops. The demon wind vanishes without a trace. Only the figure of number 10 remains in the arena. The majestic demon dragon is gone. Just as everyone feels uneasy, the demon dragon's piercing scream is heard. It is calling out to the bald man for help. Everyone then realizes that terrifying demon dragon, more massive than the mountain moon, has been shrunk down, wrapped around number 10's waist like a belt, its head and tail connected and tied together. Everyone is stunned. Even the silent and taciturn bully Taoist speaks expressionlessly, praising number 10 as extraordinary. Number 10 subdued the demon dragon in an instant, then looks forward, calling out those defeated underlings, that blue-clothed fat woman and the bald man, telling them all to come and fight. Everyone is speechless, thinking he must be crazy, daring to challenge 3 supreme beings at once. This day, the Heavenly Lord can no longer endure the humiliation of being called a defeated underling. He strikes first, throws a punch. Purple light surges wildly, like a great sun exploding. But what happens next shocks everyone. Facing the perfect seed-fused Su Daojing Supreme, number 10 neither dodges nor avoids, throws a punch directly. The sound of a tough man's strike shatters the vast purple haze. The collision center turns the world upside down. A chaos device appears. Figures intertwine. The Heavenly Lord roars in shock and anger. Immediately after, people see number 10 like a war god, bathed in golden divine fire, charging toward Lan Xian again. His fists seem to drive the great stars of the heavens, rotating together, mighty and overwhelming. Lan Xian raised his hand to block a loud bang. Blue radiant scissor strike. This beautiful female supreme was shaken by my vanguard. Her delicate face was full of disbelief. His snow-white hand trembled slightly in intense pain. Number 10 did not stop for a moment, charging again toward the great void path. His fist transformed into a silver giant handprint, etched with kunpang, acid mud and various other symbols. The giant handprint boldly resembled the wave fish atop Great Mustu's head. That ancient Buddhist artifact emitted a thunderous roar. Then suddenly, with a crack, it exploded directly, shattered on the spot. Everyone screamed out loud, unable to believe their own eyes. In this fleeting moment, number 10 single-handedly dominated the 3 top masters of Hangji, and gained the upper hand over all of them. This completely overturned everyone's understanding. The book attendant's face turned pale. He fell to the ground, trembling all over. He couldn't understand how someone without the Supreme Valley Seed could be so powerful. In the muddy central area, number 10 stood alone, dispersing the heroes. The 4 great supremes were also stunned. This was completely illogical. Outside the arena, the crowd was thoroughly stirred up. Tian Yuta rubbed his eyes hard, unable to believe that number 10 was so overwhelmingly fierce. Cao Yusheng excitedly patted his chest, putting his arm around an important figure from the immortal courtyard, boasting loudly, claiming Huang was his sworn brother, and that defeating the supreme of the immortal courtyard was no problem. The expression of the cultivator from the longevity family was furious. Tai Ching, the witch Chang Gongyan, and others from the 3,000 states were also excited and honored by number 10's strength. The most thrilled were the disciples of the Heavenly God Academy. During this time, they had been marginalized on their own turf, bullied by people from the Immortal and Saint Academies. Their frustration had reached its peak. Now, number 10's return was like a god descending from heaven. vengefully standing up for them. They shouted loudly, "Even without the valley seed, one can still claim supremacy." Those with Heart Wish and Saint Wish felt deeply lost and confused. Everyone thought that insisting on the ancient method, without obtaining a suitable Tao seed, was destined to lead to decline. But everything that happened today overturned everyone's expectations. Not only did he not decline, he surged forward powerfully, becoming unfathomable. Those who once opposed number 10, becoming unfathomable. Those who once opposed number 10, even those who were suppressed by him, at this moment are even more terrified. On the battlefield, Lan Qian's initial strike is still somewhat swollen. He spoke with a trembling voice, believing that the 3 years of number 10's disappearance were not an escape, but rather a rare opportunity. Taoist Qi who also agreed. These were not 3 lost years for number 10, but 3 years of submission and rebirth, returning stronger than ever before. On this day, the Heavenly Lord's face was dark and gloomy. Blood seeped from between the fingers of his right hand. In the recent physical showdown, his proud purple gold body had actually suffered damage. Great Shuduo sighed softly, looking at the shattered glass fragments on the ground. His heart was deeply unsettled. He gave a very high appraisal, believing that number 10, in terms of physical body alone, was rarely matched in history, perhaps comparable to the Buddha in the early ancient era, who had cultivated the perfect 6 gold body when young. This evaluation shook the entire wilderness. The book boy was even too frightened to speak further, fearing it might bring deadly consequences. After all, number 10 belonged to the Chongsheng family. The first boatman was grateful to have killed many. Number 10 stood in the center of the field, challenging again with provocative words, calling out Ziri to mock Blue Xian, and criticizing the quality of Dasu Tu's rice bowl as to poor. This blatant provocation made everyone uneasy. Was he really planning to suppress the 3 supreme figures alone? On this day, the Heavenly Lord was filled with shame and fury, scolding with all his might. But number 10 responded calmly, "This is not provocation. I just want to suppress them." These words struck like thunder. The king has returned. Number 10 disappeared for 3 years, and now returns with overwhelming force. On this day, the Heavenly Lord roared and launched his attack. Primordial energy transformed into heavenly swords, slashing toward number 10. A gentle light burst forth from number 10's body. He himself was like a seed of the great Tao, containing infinite vitality. He simply raised his hand to suppress it, shattering the void, standing on the broken ground, invulnerable to all laws, crushing all the purple energy heavenly swords barehanded. Amid the stunned gasps of the crowd, number 10 turned toward Blue Xian, speaking insolently once again, while a large hand reached out to grab him. Blue Xian's mental defenses resisted. Then number 10 attacked Dasu Tu. He was truly fighting 3 at once. The disciples of the Heavenly God Academy stood up excitedly, realizing a king who did not come from the flawless valley seed, but forged another path to the heavenly Tao, had returned. The Heavenly Lord's blood boiled on this day. He completely lost control to rage. This was the first time since his birth. Facing the first true decisive battle, his heart was filled with frustration and anger. He urgently wanted to wash away the shame of recently being defeated by the leader of the 10. His body began to undergo an astonishing transformation. His height soared from normal to over 33 feet 1 jong. His entire body took on a purple golden hue, like the hardest metal forged, shining with a cold and fierce luster. At this moment, his towering 33-foot body was full of a powerful and beautiful aesthetic. His muscles were like balls wrapped in chains. This was his cultivated purple golden body, an indestructible form. In an instant, heaven and earth trembled. Thunder roared. Countless auspicious energies descended from the sky, completely engulfing the Ziri Heavenly Lord. That was the red Mengzi artifact seed he had fused with, now fully activated by him. The aura it emitted was even more terrifying than before. The great Tao resonated along with it, as if gaining the recognition of heaven and earth, making him seem as if he was one with the Tao. Everyone present involuntarily stood up. Their souls felt as if they would be shaken out of their bodies by this pressure. They deeply felt their own insignificance, completely unable to rival the inner sovereign's purple golden body. That day, the Heavenly Lord let out a roar of anger. The sound wave was deafening like a tsunami, tearing through the long sky. Visible energy ripples radiated from him as the center, sweeping across all directions like a vast ocean. Then he struck a powerful palm strike. A huge purple-black hand covered the sky and sun, like a dark cloud shrouding the heavenly Tao, causing hearts to tremble. This was the purple chair rising from the east, the supreme palm technique of the ancient heavenly palace, the Zhia palm. Legend says this technique was passed down from over 100 million eras ago. When cultivated to the extreme, it can control the sun and moon, grasp the stars. All things under heaven and earth are under control. Facing this world-shattering strike, number 10 was still at a bottleneck. He stood on the broken earth, slowly raising his right hand. His palm was suffused with a faint clear light, as if carrying the breath of the primordial chaos, making him seem as if standing in prehistoric times, looking down on all living beings of that era. He silently struck a palm imprint condensed in the void, piercing through heaven and earth, condensing toward that purple heavenly palm, pressing down like a dark cloud. A life-shaking, earth-shattering tremor broke the calm. At the collision center of the two palms, an extremely brilliant light erupted. The dazzling glow was like a vast ocean, suddenly exploding, then blazing fiercely. The scene was magnificent and turbulent, like endless magma erupting. In this thrilling job interview, Zhi Tianjun's palm suddenly felt sharp pain. Blood trickled down from between his fingers. A strong sense of humiliation surged in his heart. He had thought that, after emerging from seclusion, he had merged with the invincible seed, and that he would dominate the world. But he never expected his first battle to be so difficult. What he found hardest to accept was that his so-called indestructible purple-gold body was actually no match for number 10 in physical combat. To major clashes, and both times he suffered losses. His palm was bleeding. Zhi Tianjun let out a deep roar like a tiger and dragon. The sound waves shook people's souls. Many weaker cultivators bled from their 7 orifices on the spot. The next moment, he held to the sky, his vital energy and spirit rising to the peak of his life. A shocking scene unfolded. With his laughter, the vast divine mountain of the heavenly god academy in the distance was shattered by ripples of dark energy, turning into a sky full of flying rocks, dust billowing high. In a fit of rage, mountains and rivers crumbled. At this moment, Zhi Tianjun let his long hair cascade like a waterfall, his eyes glowing like 2 small suns. He formed hand seals, holding the pose of grasping the Great Self. Then he fiercely charged toward number 10. The heavens and earth cracked in response. A terrifying purple lightning flashed, seeming eternal, illuminating the entire sky. Amidst the pervasive Z energy, Zhi Tianjun's 1-story-tall body appeared blurry yet awe-inspiring. Between his hands, a terrifying weapon formed from condensed Hongmeng Z energy gradually appeared. Seeing this, everyone was greatly alarmed, but the so-called invincible seed of Hongmeng Z energy was manifesting. This seed was not only releasing power, but also condensing into a god-slaying weapon, intent on killing number 10. That vast Hongmeng Great Self stretched across the sky, carrying an irresistible world-ending aura, as if it could cut through heaven and earth. The void crumbled inch by inch before him. The mountain below silently turned to dust. Nothing could withstand it. Facing this final decisive strike, number 10's expression was serious. But instead of dodging, he clenched fists with both hands simultaneously, stretched his body, and met the attack head-on. He intended to use his fleshly body, hardened by the invincible seed, as a weapon. Everyone thought he was crazy. Fist number 10 emitted a roar like an immortal war drum. My realm is about to shatter. He strikes with unparalleled authority, delivering a great blow. His right hand unleashes the secret technique of the Kunpeng method. A single Kunpeng rider's punch is thrown, as if a Kunpeng soars directly 90,000 miles upward. Its power commands the world, suppressing all living beings. This fist strikes heavily on the great ridge. The tremendous sound makes everyone's ears buzz. Some even cough up blood on the spot. That big ridge pole was actually struck high into the air by this Kunpeng-shaped fist, swinging wildly. Immediately after, number 10's left-hand fist imprint also knocked down. He used his body as the weight. Countless gates within him crack open, providing a vast ocean of victory. On his left hand, wind and thunder rage, lightning flashes and thunder roars, filled with the spirit of determination and ambition. This is the Thunder Emperor seal. Right hand Kunpeng, left hand Thunder Emperor. With the endless power granted by using his body as the core, number 10 is a godly warrior unmatched. Both fists strike together on the purple Great Ridge, accompanied by a tremendous sound like heaven and earth overturning. The great auspicious sign condensed from primordial purple energy was actually broken on the spot, reverting back into purple energy. On this day, the Heavenly Lord's face turned pale. Gasping heavily, blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. He felt unprecedented pressure. He could not understand how a single person's physical body could be strong enough to rival the array of primordial weapons. He roared in anger, trying to force the primordial purple energy to fully manifest its true form, to suppress this great enemy. However, at this very moment, the Heavenly Lord saw the scene beside him, which shocked him to his core. His inner frustration grew even stronger, because he discovered, while number 10 was engaged in such a life and death struggle with him, he was also fighting to others simultaneously. Dazu to sat cross-legged in the void, chanting sacred scriptures. The scriptures leapt out like symbols forged from metal, attempting to suppress number 10. Meanwhile, number 10's brow glowed fiercely in the intense fight, his primordial spirit unsheathed. A dazzling little figure played before his gong and drum, also chanting sacred scriptures. It was a kind of demonic chant like a devil's melody, fiercely opposing Dazutu's Buddha Sutras, engaged in intense spiritual confrontation. On the other side, Lan Xian was like a fairy walking on waves. She appeared ethereally beautiful. He appeared ethereally beautiful, but his attacks were unmatched in spiritual power. The red saint's blue light poured down like thousands of lightning bolts. At the same time, he activated 9 great divine powers to comprehensively suppress number 10 from another direction. Facing such a desperate situation, number 10 smiled as he opened his mouth. A misty blue light sprayed out from his mouth, like the heavens opening up from chaos. Brilliant and astonishing, that blue light seemed like a hanging galaxy. Stars scattered across the sky, beautiful and dazzling. This galaxy represented number 10's understanding of the great Tao. It made his body the core, the power gained from opening the gates within his body. Moreover, it was a comprehensive embodiment of his fusion of the primal and the ancient pure scriptures. He actually used a true scripture to simultaneously suppress Lan Xian's 9 world-shaking divine powers. At this moment, everyone was completely stunned. Number 10 was competing 1 against 3. Dominating 3 young supreme elites alone. Although the battle had just begun, the outcome was unpredictable, but just this opening was enough to shock the world. An invincible star was rising steadily. This was a myth belonging solely to him. Those vibrant 10th level awakened figures were all silent at this moment. Back then, they decisively abandoned Shi Hao, refusing to grant him the valley seed. But now this boy they had given up on returned after 3 years of submission, bringing a pair of fists, suppressing the heirs they had carefully cultivated, staging the most glorious and world-shaking battle of his life. The fight with Lan Xian suddenly escalated. The 9 divine powers he unleashed, each was enough to cause waves and ripple out in formation, breaking bones and tendons of distant strong virtual Tao practitioners, nearly tearing them apart. Yet when people looked toward the center of the battlefield, their souls were stirred. The galaxy that number 10 sprayed out not only blocked the 9 divine trees, but evolved into 10,000 spirits, thousands upon thousands of beings blocking the sky and sun. Golden fierce horses, platinum lions, sky-swallowing, gluttonous birds and fierce beasts, as if the scene of the 10,000 spirits uprising at the end of the immortal valley had reappeared. People were shocked. This was exactly the supreme method recorded in the Lost 10,000 Spirits diagram. From the original True Scripture divine film, 1 breath transforms 10,000 spirits. These divine birds and fierce beasts, each was incredibly powerful. They galloped and roared. The ground they trampled cracked open. The void shattered. Lan Xian's 9 divine powers before this flood of 10,000 spirits. instantly grew dim and quickly disintegrated. Lanqian fell into a passive state, surrounded by 10,000 years of life. A golden egg dived down, about to tear his sleeve apart. His arm was nearly turned into a bloody mess. Although he fought desperately and killed hundreds of skull beasts, those creatures were endless, impossible to hold back. Even number 10 was a bit stunned at this moment. He hadn't expected that the original true scripture he comprehended, after being fully elevated, could unleash such a massive and terrifying dangerous energy. But at the same time, he also felt a huge drain. This cha that transforms all living things seemed like a black hole, madly devouring his essence, energy, and spirit. If not for his focus on self-preservation and his incredibly strong foundation, he would probably have been sucked dry in an instant. He dared not hold it for long. He opened his mouth and inhaled. The myriad spirits turned back into points of light, rolling back like a river of stars, entering his body. Just in that brief moment of weakness for number 10, the attack from Dasutu arrived. A grand scripture chant sounded, as if it could suppress the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The scripture in the void transformed into huge mountain-like metal symbols, pressing down toward number 10. Number 10's figure flashed brightly, but he immediately steadied himself. The gaps in the gates inside his body seemed to widen a bit more, continuously providing potential. In front of number 10's brow, that little primordial spirit appeared again, chanting scriptures to resist. In the end, this primordial spirit transformed into an exquisitely sharp sword embryo. It was the Wang family's secret technique. With a sharp Z sound, it slashed toward Dasutu. Seeing this, Dasutu didn't dare to delay anymore, immediately formed seals to defend. On this day, the Ziri Heavenly Lord also saw this opportunity. He thought number 10's primordial spirit had unsheathed, leaving his body vulnerable. He roared angrily and charged forward, trying to seize the initiative. But Shi Hao suddenly turned around calmly, smirking coldly as he faced the Ziri Heavenly Lord, and engaged in fierce hand-to-hand combat. Only then did Dasutu realize he had been tricked. The primordial spirit sword embryo slashing at him was just an illusion. Number 10's primordial spirit had already returned to his core. Number 10 and the Ziri Heavenly Lord exchanged blows fiercely. Thunder Emperor seals struck repeatedly. My Ziri Heavenly Lord kept counterattacking. Dasutu felt mocked and roared angrily as he joined the fray. His wax-yellow giant hand grabbed toward number 10. Number 10 shouted loudly, criticizing the opponent's physical body as weak. One punch shook Dasutu away. Lanqian also returned once more. Using ancient heavenly skill, the battle entered its most chaotic phase. Number 10 simultaneously, blocking the attacks from Purple Sun Celestial Lord and Great Void too, but concentrated all his killing moves on Mr. Lan instead. He endured part of the other two's attacks, with the force of a thunderclap, and punched toward the blue line. In the end, Lanqian's group was shattered. Both sleeves were torn by the full wind formation, revealing snow-white lotus arms. On that right arm were 5 deep blood marks visible to the bone. Those were the full seals of number 10. This strike nearly broke his arm directly. Lanqian's face flushed red, both ashamed and angry. Great Shuduo launched another spell attack. Number 10 was cautious and retaliated. The original spirit sword embryo appeared again. Great Shuduo thought it was another summon, and only diverted a small amount of his mind to block it, while fully attacking number 10's physical body. However, this time, the primordial spirit sword embryo was real. It broke through the defense, and flew to Great Shuduo's head, just as Great Void To realized the divine protective light of his powerful subordinate. The inner arrow embryo transformed into a tiny figure, about a fist high, circling above his bald head. Then it made a shocking move that left everyone speechless. With a crisp sound, that original voice little figure actually slapped hard on Great Shuduo's protective golden light, delivering a solid slap. The sound was clear and sharp, as if hitting flesh directly. Great Void To was stunned on the spot. This was blatant teasing. Number 10's original voice little figure then transformed into light and space, returning to his brow. The battle continued. Number 10's physical body glowed, and shifted to fully confront Ziri Celestial Lord. he unleashed the Willow Divine technique, sending out strands of golden divine chains, nearly locking the Celestial Lord's neck. In the end, one divine chain brushed past, drawing a spray of fresh blood, and severing a strand of the Celestial Lord's top-tier hair. The disciples of the Heavenly God Academy, seeing this, trembled with excitement, erupting in thunderous cheers. Number 10's artist dominated the three Supreme Lords, roaming freely, unmatched in bravery. Not only did he not lose, but he held absolute advantage, displaying the invincible posture of Thunder World. The light of the divine tree continuously blossomed, brilliant and captivating. Both sides fought from the sky down to the ground, then back up to the clouds. The entire world was boiling with excitement. On this day, the Celestial Lord's hair was disheveled, with fresh blood lying on his neck. He was nearly cut off at the neck by the golden branches, formed by the Willow God technique, just now performed by number 10. He crashed into the demon god, and completely fell into a frenzy. This was not only due to anger, but also because of an indescribable humiliation. He had fused with the so-called invincible Red Mengzi. Red Mengzi was arrogant, looking down on his peers. However, in his first battle after emerging, he was suppressed repeatedly by number 10, again and again. In the ancient times long past, anyone who obtained this seed became a legend. If he were to suffer a complete defeat here today, both he and this invincible seed would become nothing more than a backdrop, highlighting number 10's supreme brilliance. This was absolutely unacceptable to him. On this day, the Heavenly Lord roared, and a purple seed manifested before him, ancient and serene, as if a whole world was rising and falling within it, radiating an oppressive aura. Sharp-eyed observers noticed that this was not the complete true form of Red Mengzi's aura. The Heavenly Lord had only recently fused with this seed, and could not yet fully control it at will. At this moment, he hastily mobilized only part of its power. But even so, this power was still terrifyingly overwhelming. The seed had manifested, and thunder and wind roared across heaven and earth. The fierce wind howled, and the cosmos instantly changed color, as if the end of the world had arrived. A massive purple lightning bolt appeared like a true dragon from the immortal valley, slicing through the cosmos. The void shattered like broken porcelain, covered with countless huge cracks. Dazutuo and Blue Immortal were shocked at the sight, quickly retreating, temporarily abandoning their attack, fearing being caught in this world-destroying power. The Heavenly Lord on this day formed a hand seal with his right hand, and swung it forcefully. The seed trembled tightly, and the cosmos shook violently. The heavens quaked, and the earth trembled, and countless ancient divine mountains within the Academy began to tremble. At this critical moment, the Academy elders intervened, simultaneously activating the summoning formation, managing to hold this land in place. However, the void was not so fortunate. Amidst continuous annihilation and resurgence, the seed entwined with lightning, blossomed with purple radiance, representing the will of heaven and earth. It began to unexpectedly, representing the will of heaven and earth. He began from the unexpected, drawing countless cosmic laws from the sky. These laws transformed like a waterfall into tangible forms, falling into the purple seed. At this moment, the Heavenly Lord seemed to have received the protection of the heavens, becoming the favored child of heaven and earth. This is precisely the supreme pride of the Void Tao realm, approaching the Great Tao, and the Hongmeng Si Che has pushed the power of this realm to the extreme. This Heavenly Lord, at this moment, is like a child of the heavens, carrying the peril of heaven and earth, representing the Great Tao's judgment, ready to pass judgment on number 10. His essence, energy, and spirit soared to the utmost. Confidence surged dramatically. After long preparation, he unleashed a roar that shook mountains and rivers, driving the red energy seed weapon, fused with the power of heaven and earth, to launch a killing blow at number 10. Under this slight pressure, all living beings trembled. Many spectators could not even withstand this instinctive reverence for the Great Tao. With a thud, some collapsed to the ground. Everyone felt that number 10 was truly in danger this time. Unless he could also unleash a hidden valley seed of the same level, he would surely fall. Yet at this critical moment, a brilliant fresh light burst forth. Number 10 stretched out his limbs, waving all seals. The azure light within him surged vigorously. His body radiated brilliance. The path he walked was one that valued the self. His own body was the seed of the great Tao. Under the immense external pressure of the Hongmeng seed che, the mysterious gaps of the gates within his body were further pried open, releasing the most primal and vast potential of the human body. Threads of orderly divine refinement wrapped around his surface. Thus, with his own flesh and blood, he displayed his ultimate power. Facing that invincible seed, he threw a punch. The disciples of the Heavenly God Academy, seeing this, all turned pale. Born of the Golden Sect, believed this was suicide. But what followed was a shocking scene that left everyone stunned. That majestic and terrifying Hongmeng seed chest swelling, in its descent, seemed to encounter a great obstacle. Its speed suddenly slowed, then accompanied by a light sound, a fist glowing with faint golden light, like a bamboo breaking through, pierced steadily through that invincible seed. The momentum was unstoppable like a bamboo breaking through. Stillness pierced through that invincible seed. Everyone was stunned. On this day, the Heavenly Lord's invincible envoy, majestic and domineering, instantly froze at this moment, then rapidly deflated. Like a burst balloon, he forgot his anger, his face full of confusion, then let out an incredulous roar. After a brief silence, the entire crowd was in an uproar. The elders of the Celestial Academy speculated. There was only one possibility. It was suppression between seeds. Number 10 possessed a seed purer than the primordial chess seed, a seed with more refined ultimate skill. But the elders from the Immortal Academy immediately objected. The primordial chess seed was already invincible. It was impossible to surpass it. They believed it was because Purple Sun Heavenly Lord failed to perfectly manifest the seed's power, which is why he was suppressed by a seed of the same level. Purple Sun Heavenly Lord also roared in anger, accusing number 10 of deceiving him, claiming he too was hiding a perfect seed. Shi Hao responded with the broken crane technique. He admitted he had an invincible seed, and that seed was himself. As his words fell, the mysterious portal inside number 10 completely cracked open. A massive amount of pure light condensed, elevating his power to the highest peak of his life so far. He held nothing back, for the first time unleashing such immense power, charging straight at Purple Sun Heavenly Lord, with full force to annihilate. Purple Sun Heavenly Lord was shocked, hastily trying to regroup the primordial che that had just been pierced, but he was already in an absolute disadvantage. Number 10's fist struck solidly against his body, shaking him to gasp for breath. His body flew sideways. The following scene completely stunned everyone. Number 10 was like an undefeated war god, striking his opponent with an invincible stance, his black hair flowing, his eyes cold and fierce. Step by step, punch by punch, wide and powerful movements, without any flourish, just pure force smashing everything. Meanwhile, Purple Sun Heavenly Lord retreated step by step, blooded, his arms deformed, flesh torn and mangled, his body nearly collapsing on the spot. Everyone was stunned. Is this truly number 10's real strength? The vivid living figures of those few actual people also had disbelief written all over their faces. They finally realized number 10 might really have succeeded in walking that path, the path that no one has ever succeeded in before. Putting the body first, this path has been attempted since ancient times, but without exception, all have failed, a tragic end. But today, this boy abandoned by them, without even a single seed granted, has surpassed all the great heroes throughout history, and succeeded. This news was earth-shattering. Everyone present began to realize number 10 wasn't hiding any seed, but truly prioritized himself, and created history. The weight of these 4 words was suffocating for everyone. On the battlefield, number 10's divine might carried him forward steadily, like heaven and earth seeking the sky. His expression was cold and indifferent. His right fist slowly struck out, compressing the void with oppressive force. Then it exploded thunderously. That day, the Heavenly Lord was like a scarecrow, blown away again by this power. His bones inside shattered countless times. Da Zutuo and Lan Xian had already slowed their attacks, standing not far away, afraid to intervene lightly. That day, the Heavenly Lord This undefeated supreme being, at this moment, disheveled, in utter disgrace, suffered the greatest defeat of his life. He even felt that even if he could perfectly unleash the Hongmeng energy, he might still not defeat the person before him. Number 10 struck again with a punch, directly piercing through the Purple Sun Heavenly Lord's chest and abdomen, leaving a bloody gaping hole. The elders of the Immortal Academy shouted to stop, but the Purple Sun Heavenly Lord, wild as madness, burned his vital energy and refused to retreat. Yet number 10 struck again, breaking his bones once more, falling backward, staring at the sky. In the distance, the book boy and Wu Tai and others had already turned pale. Standing rigid, the elder of the Heart Wish sect finally couldn't help but shout loudly, ordering the Purple Sun Heavenly Lord to withdraw, because number 10 had already walked that path, perfectly prioritizing himself. This speculation was confirmed by the elder's own words, shocking everyone's minds like thunder from the sky. Number 10 became the first person to pioneer this path, destined to shine through the ages, becoming an unavoidable figure in ancient history. This fact was a devastating blow to the Purple Sun Heavenly Lord. He was lost and disoriented, deeply disappointed, yet he still stubbornly persisted, attempting to summon the complete Hongmeng energy seed. For the ultimate battle, the elders of the Immortal Academy hurried forward to stop him. Number 10 remained indifferent and fearless, ready to strike again and completely annihilate. Dazutuo and Lanxian, seeing this, could no longer remain indifferent. After all, they came from the same Immortal Academy. They had no choice but to intervene. The battle escalated once again. The three supreme beings joined forces to besiege number 10, yet the outcome remained terrifying. Under the assault of the three, number 10 once again sent Zi Ritianjun flying with a single punch. If not for the sudden appearance of that purple seed at the last moment, wrapping around his battered body, he would have surely died. An elder from the Immortal Academy immediately rushed out, holding Zi Ritianjun, administering the golden core to save his life. Everyone was stunned by this scene. Number 10 fought three opponents alone, yet still severely wounded a generation's Heavenly Lord. With this battle, he wrote his own undefeated legend. Disappeared for 3 years, conquered for 3 years, the king returns. Still brilliant and dazzling, the fall of Zi Ritianjun triggered a massive shockwave. The disciples of the Heavenly God Academy turned red with excitement, screaming loudly. Even the people from the Immortal and Sacred Academies could not help but marvel at his unmatched brilliance. Wang Ji's expression grew complicated, beginning to worrying for his family and his fiancée Jinzan. The battlefield darkened. After repelling Zi Ritianjun, number 10 turned to attack Lanxian, instantly putting him on the defensive. At any moment, he might fall. Just then, number 10's heart skipped a beat, sensing extremely powerful figures arriving at the muddy swamp. More than one presence surrounded the area. Top-tier young supreme energies arrived, one after another. Moments later, a massive tremor. The muddy swamp suddenly exploded from a strike by the newcomers. Mud splattered everywhere. The gate of early decay was forcibly opened. The muddy swamp collapsed, releasing a bright, twisting vine. The immortal moon shimmered repeatedly. The loud sound of the stone gate opening echoed. The underground world was revealed. The newcomers moved like lightning, disappearing underground in the blink of an eye. Seeing this, number 10 immediately rejoiced, summoning Cao Yusheng and the demon witch, along with all the disciples of the Heavenly God Academy, planning to take them all down together. This move was nothing short of madness, but his friends, like Grass and Life, Tai Yin, Jade Rabbit, Long Bao, I Demon, Witch, and others seemed used to this, immediately flying to follow. Meanwhile, the disciples from the Heavenly God Academy were overwhelmed with great surprise. They never imagined that despite having little connection with Huang, simply because they belonged to the same academy, and spoke a few words to repay his grievances, they could gain such unimaginable, heaven-defying opportunities. The crowd gathered around the crack in the muddy pond emitting a celestial aura. However, this panic move clearly angered some forces that had already entered. Someone launched an attack from the underground world, thunder and lightning intertwined, fiercely striking towards them. Facing the provocation from the shadows, Shi Hao responded with a thunderous and powerful counterattack. He stretched out his hand with 5 fingers, fully unleashing the great divine power of universe and palm. His palm instantly enlarged, as if it could cover the heavens and earth. It covered the cave entrance in one sweep, capturing all the incoming thunderbolts in his hand. Lightning rolled at his fingertips. The scene was terrifying and awe-inspiring. Not only did he easily refine all the thunder and lightning, but he also reversed the clouds with a flick of his hand, transforming this power into thousands of lightning waterfalls, which suddenly blasted back towards the cave below. This spectacular sight made everyone's scalp tingle. The underground world sent angry shouts, accusing him of trying to attack everyone. His response was cold and domineering. He clearly stated that those who attacked secretly were the cowardly ones hiding in the shadows. If others were dissatisfied, they were welcome to come up and fight. With a heavy slap from him, it triggered a massive quake like heaven and earth collapsing. The muddy pond was completely destroyed. The layers beneath rumbled. Many ancient formations were activated, releasing immortal power, putting several cultivators who had rushed in at risk. They cried out in distress. The people above watched in stunned silence, while those underground fell silent. They realized this fierce and domineering panic was beyond imagination. He was absolutely not someone to offend lightly. After intimidating ZZ, Number 10 spread out a patch of luminous wood, leading the way, guiding everyone into the muddy pond and into the deep underground cave. This was a spacious underground world. Various clocks, strange and diverse, emitted brilliant light. While moving forward, a student from the Celestial Academy curiously asked what exactly was hidden inside the stone hero that Number 10 had snatched from the muddy pond's glow earlier. Shi Hao took the stone hero from his bosom and found it was sealed, with strange ancient script attached, forming a powerful binding rule, suppressing its opening. Covered with strange ancient script, forming a powerful lychee rule, suppressing the activation. After several failed attempts to break it, he lost patience, decided to respond in the most direct way. He shouted a loud congratulation, mobilizing all his strength, using brute force to crush the stone hero. This action once again triggered a violent rumble. The entire underground world began to shake and collapse. Rocks flew everywhere. The several young supremes below, including the peerless beauty Lanqian, all turned pale, gritting their teeth in anger. But Number 10 showed no concern and stated this was just an accident, and refused to apologize, treat it as a response to their earlier provocation. Under the horrified gazes of everyone, the stone hero opened a snow-white skull and poked out something. To everyone's surprise, inside the hero was not some earth-shattering treasure or secret technique, but a living creature, a palm-sized, crystal-clear, jade-like snow-white turtle. Its eyes were sly and extremely spirited. Taiyin Yutu immediately lit up with excitement, guessing this might be the legendary white turtle immortal, the essence of longevity. But Number 10 recognized its origin. This was not an immortal herb, but a creature equally famous, the priceless 8 treasures turtle, known as the top blood tonic, the most renowned delicacy in the world, and an unparalleled great tonic. Legend says even when a supreme's blood energy is depleted, they can rely on it to replenish. Number 10 explained, this is the vital blood tonic used by the Grand Elder of the Heavenly God Academy, Liu Dai. He inquired through divine consciousness. The long-spirited 8 treasures turtle nervously expressed. It was originally wandering in a muddy pond, but was suddenly swept into the underground world by a massive force, and then inexplicably suppressed inside the stone gorge. Number 10 immediately narrowed his eyes, realizing the one suppressing it was probably the Grand Elder, the true target he had been trying to capture all along. At that moment, in the deeper part of the underground cave, a violent disturbance occurred. The strata cracked open, revealing a magnificent ancient underground palace. This was actually a giant immortal city, entirely cast from blue gold metal, vast and boundless, shining with an immortal luster. What stirred hearts even more was, the city was not empty, but had 9 towering stone mountains. Each mountain had ancient caves softly echoing, continuously emitting immortal energy. This meant that 9 immortal talismans were hidden here. This is truly a sacred place of the immortals, Shi Hao clearly sensed at the same time. Several young supreme beings who had arrived long ago were hiding nearby. This immortal city exuded a strange aura. He had endured countless years. Even the Grand Elder had never entered. But now, suddenly, it creaked open. That massive gate, like an ancient great moon, weighing thousands of pounds, and the second huge stone door inside, surprisingly opened on their own one after another, revealing everything, without reservation, to everyone's eyes. Even the protective runes above the city walls vanished. The city gate opened. Chaotic energy surged out. What was even more shocking were several humanoid creatures, covered entirely in black armored scales, stepping out heavily from the city. They carried the aura of immortals, but the black war blades and heavenly songs in their hands emitted a bloody aura as if capable of devouring heaven and earth. Everyone was stunned to discover these armors and weapons were extravagantly mixed with dark immortal gold. Everyone held their breath instantly, like fossils, afraid to move rashly. All were guessing whether these beings were the legendary living needles. Their faces were also covered by armored scales. Only sharp eyes swept out, landing on people's faces, causing skin to ache. The leader's forehead split open, shooting out a leaf. Crimson light swept across everyone. When the light fell on the Taiyan Jade Rabbit, he judged that the Jade Rabbit possessed the purest immortal bone bloodline. Allowed to enter the city, however, when the Jade Rabbit tried to enter, it was repelled by a light barrier. The guard coldly pointed out there was an even purer bloodline than his. At that moment, the snow-white Killen in the Jade Rabbit's arms jumped down. Immediately, it appeared extremely joyful, seemingly very familiar with this place, and actively communicated with the guards. Finally, after checking everyone, the guards confirmed they were all descendants of ancient immigrants, not beings from the other side of the world. Led by the right beast of the Killen, the group was allowed inside. However, suddenly a black heavenly pigeon extended, blocking Mo Dao in the group. The guard let out a sharp crane call, labeling him a depressive intruder. Number 10 calmly admitted Mo Dao indeed came from depression, and was his tame servant. After carefully identifying Mo Dao with Tree Rock, the guard finally released him, allowing him to enter, but its activity range is restricted to a specific area within Sa City. Soon, Lanxian, Da Su Tu, and several other hidden young supremes, as well as the recently recovered Zi Ri Tiajun, all appeared one after another, passed the inspection, and entered the city. Immediately after, several figures from the heavenly gods, the Academy, the Immortal Institute, and other factions, including living fossils and elders, arrived. They tried to communicate with the guards, but were coldly blocked by Daji. The guards bluntly pointed out that they were too old, and there were hardly any opportunities left in the city. Using them would be a waste. The elders were greatly disappointed upon hearing this, but what the guards said next made all the young cultivators who entered the city feel a sense of awe. The guards revealed that this city was a last resort and trump card left by to former kings, but the true heaven-defying fortunes within the city were reserved only for descendants with the purest ancient bloodlines. Everyone who entered the city found that the internal space was far more vast than what was visible from the outside, truly like an independent small world. Number 10 took the lead in guarding the rear, watching over Lanxian and the others, using his absolute deterrent power from defeating Zi Ri Tiajun to ensure the safety of several teams. At the end of the street, they quickly discovered a small square. In the center of the square was a pond, and in the pond, the divine hero Dao Dao was growing 3 soul-attracting lotuses. These were truly divine medicines, capable of strengthening the primordial spirit, and even had resurrection effects. Such divine medicines were already rare, and it was impossible for 3 to coexist in one place. The sight of 3 blooming together delighted everyone. Signature. The chubby Cao Yusheng was the first to react, diving headfirst into the pond, gulping down the rich medicinal properties already dissolved in the water. Others quickly followed suit, jumping into the pond, enjoying this sudden opportunity. Just as everyone was immersed in joy, A childish voice suddenly sounded, curiously asking who was going crazy and drinking his bathwater. This voice made everyone freeze in place, then turn pale with shock, immediately leaping out of the pond, cautiously guarding their surroundings. Cao Yusheng was especially furious, having drunk a belly full of water, only to be insulted like this. He looked around for the speaker, and finally, right in front of his toes, he discovered a tiny creature not even an inch long. The grass whisperer was strong and healthy. At first, he was stunned. Then he burst out laughing, thinking this little guy was trying to tease him. He chuckled softly, reached out a finger, and poked that tiny knife-like creature on the ground, a creature so small it could almost be ignored. But in the next moment, that tiny creature suddenly threw a punch. The smile on Cao Yusheng's face instantly froze. He felt as if he had been struck by an ancient giant mountain. His whole body uncontrollably flew sideways, racing toward the edge of the horizon. He felt like every bone in his body was broken. The pain was unbearable. Before he passed out, he only had time to curse repeatedly, completely unable to believe that he was knocked out by a single punch from a tiny creature. This scene caused a huge shock. Cao Yusheng was extraordinary in both the fields of inscriptions and formations. His swordsmanship was exceptional. His battle power was immense. Yet he was blown away and vanished with just one punch from the opponent. The witch and others also observed that before disappearing, Fatty Cow had already rolled his eyes and passed out. Tian Yuta showed no sympathy. Instead, he found it quite amusing, because he knew Cao Yusheng was not in mortal danger. At this moment, everyone turned their gaze to the ground, searching for the true culprit behind the stunning punch. When everyone saw the creature clearly, they all froze as if petrified, stunned and speechless. It was actually a golden ant, only about an inch long. Its entire body looked like it was forged from gold, and this tiny creature, no bigger than a bean, had blasted the arrogant Cao Yusheng away. This little ant was not at all aware of its feat. Instead, it stood upright like a human, arms crossed over its chest, head held high, wearing a proud and arrogant expression. In a childish voice, it declared that the pool containing the essence of the divine medicine was his bathing place, and everyone had just been drinking his bathwater. Upon hearing this, the women who hadn't drunk the water, like Tian, Yu and the parents felt a wave of relief, while the others felt a strong sense of absurdity. This little thing was just too cheeky. However, Number 10's expression remained serious throughout. He observed carefully for a long time, whispered 3 words, "Heaven's foot is done,"